Okay, guys, we are going back in time. We are living in Turtle Prime with the TMNT Archie series here. What's great about this series is for readers like myself who either didn't get around to these as a kid, you're able to relive these thanks to Comixology, and these books were reprinted in around 2016. We're here with our good friend Christian from TMNTTALK to relive these with us. So, Christian, feel free to give us an intro as to how this Adventures comic series got started.
Well, the TMNT Adventure series by Archie Comics, which started in '88, pretty much started out as a comic adaptation of the classic cartoon, starting with the very first episode. And that was the plan all along, to just give the kids, they watch the cartoon, now they can read the comics, they can read the same stories again, just comic adaptations. But then, starting with issue number 5, as we are going into this, they started to tell original stories, to tell their own stories, and it's really, the TMNT Adventures are such an interesting TMNT universe, because it starts off just in the same way that the classic cartoon starts. It's the same universe at first, but then it drifts off into a new direction, and it becomes its completely own universe with own characters, own turtle adventures, and it's really, from this on, it's really something very interesting and very special.
What's great about this too, feel free to play spoilers. So for those Michelangelo fans, we're going to break down, guys, issues 1 through close to, I want to say in this one, like 20, I believe 22. We're going to try and go by the Archie Adventure reprint books and the Mighty Mutanimals. Now, does Mikey always keep his nunchucks? So far, it looks like he does.
Oh yeah, in the series he does. He does.
Oh, it's such a relief for Michelangelo. I'm just waiting as I flip to each, new adventure. Where's the grappling hook? Where's the grappling hook? But we do not get... Oh, that is great. One other thing I want to point out before we get into this too is a big shout out to Epic Tales from the Sewers, Justin Cooper. Now, we did a top 5 of each Ninja Turtle, and he had Leonardo from this series up there. So if I can go back in time, Christian, I may rank this Leo up there too. Where do you see Leonardo in this? Because I really enjoy his leadership is more... I guess noticeable in this one. I always like there's a phrase in here, I don't have it down yet, but it's almost like weapons ready, weapons at the helm. Like, he's giving commands, he's not an incompetent leader, and I feel he's got it down. What are your thoughts on Leo in this series?
Yeah, pretty much. Just, you will realize in this series, it becomes so different from a classic cartoon, because the turtles really use the weapons. We see like Leonardo cutting up robots left and right and really using his swords. And as you said, he's really, like not, well, as much as we love the classic cartoon, it becomes goofy sometimes.
Yes.
And it's the same with Leonardo. He's like, they always make fun of Leonardo because he's so stiff and he's so serious, and here the turtles, over the series, you really get the feeling that they really respect Leonardo more. He really is the leader. He's like, okay, dudes, get ready. We're a team. We're working together. And you really get a feeling here in this series, I gotta say, for Leonardo. And yeah, for the other turtles as well. And yeah, it can get pretty serious sometimes in this comic.
I can't wait to deep dive with these. My dude, we've got new characters, some new stories for certain characters. Feel free to get it started here. Like you said, this started with the cartoon, so feel free to break down the first 4 issues here, because they are a little familiar.
Well, first off, I gotta mention that this comics, they started off with a 3-part miniseries, where they adapted the very first season of the cartoon. So that was the TMNT Adventures miniseries. So we're not going to deep dive into these, because they are really just straight up adaptations of the first 5 episodes of the classic cartoon. So you know what you get. It's the same story. Turtles fight Shredder for the first time, and they meet Bebop, Rocksteady, Krang, and in the end they are defeated and sent to Dimension X. Which brings us to the TMNT Adventures number 1 from the ongoing series, which first issue number 1 and 2, they are adaptations of the Return of the Shredder story, the first episode of the second season. And then with issue 3 and 4, it's the Incredible Shrinking Turtles storyline. And yeah, that's not really that much to say about it. It's just it's a comic adaptation of the story. We get the same story. We find out what's happening. First Shredder returns from Dimension X. Second story, it's the Eye of Tharnoff story, the first part, where Shredder finds this crystal and he shrinks the turtles down, and they have to survive as little turtles. It's the same story, not much else to say about it. But then it gets really interesting because, as I said, this was, as we remember, the first part of this Eyes of Sarnoff story, but they just adapt the very first episode, so it cuts off in the middle of the story pretty much. And I don't know if you can call it spoilers, but they will do their own thing with the Eye of Sarnoff later on. They come back to it. It's not like, okay, we dropped the storyline. They do their own thing. Just you wait. It's gonna be very interesting here. But yeah, the first few comics adaptations of the cartoon, they are fine, they are cool, but not much to say that we haven't said when we talked about the cartoon.
Yeah, and the only thing that might be different, like I shared in Christian's Discord, if you guys stick around for the end of the video, we'll talk more where you can find Christian. But yeah, there are some pretty cool cassette tapes for us in the States. You had like a play along for a ride along. You had the wheels on the bus go round and round and all the holly jolly sing-alongs. Well, if you want it instead, you can get some Ninja Turtle tapes based off these comic books. I had the first one growing up. That was actually my VHS tape, quote unquote, because I did not have the Return of Shredder as a kid. So that was always a cool little plus. Yeah, like Christian said, not really much changes in these first few episodes. Irma and Vernon look very different, but besides that, everything's pretty much the same. But now here we go. This is great. You're going to have Bebop and Rocksteady, they do on point. You're going to have some old, you get the classics, and then you're going to break out into their own. Oh, dude, I just can't wait to. We're going to get started right now before I just type this up too much. Feel free to take it away for. It's kind of issue 1, but technically it's issue 5 with this brand new adventure series.
Yeah, issue number 5 is where the comic really starts, where it starts telling its own stories that are not in continuity with the classic cartoon. And the first comic is called Something Fishy Goes Down. And yeah, that's what it's about, because we meet a new character that did not appear in this form in the classic cartoon. There's a scientist who gets mutated into a manta ray, and yeah, that's Man Ray, aka Ray Fillet. And he tries to stop Shredder and Bebop and Rocksteady because Shredder wants to destroy the Statue of Liberty for reasons. And yeah, he's fighting the Shredder, and he pretty much meets the turtles, and they find out we are on the same side, so they stop Shredder from destroying the Statue of Liberty. And then there's a big firework because it's the 4th of July, and yeah, Man Ray swims away, but we will see him later again. So yeah, first real new comic, first new mutant, but definitely not the last. We see a lot of new characters here, and that was just the first one.
And I sure hope readers check that one out, because for me, and I would like to say for most Turtle fans, Christian, did you read these as a kid? Because after reading issue 5, I got hooked the rest of the way, because as we continue to go through these issues, everything continues together, just like the 2003 show, 2012, everything that we love about Turtles, they have in these comics.
Yeah, totally. Like, as you said, like the stories, they are pretty much connected. They're not like, if you remember when we talked about the Tales of the TMNT comics, they were like, most of them were like one-off stories. They're like one story and it's done. But these comics, they are connected. Like one story flows into the next one, into the next comic, into the next comic, and it goes on and on and on. And I know what you mean. You just like, yeah, okay, next comic. I want to know more. I want to read the next story. I want to know what's happening next. And yes, these were actually my very first TMNT comics, because they were translated into German over here. We got them in like this TMNT comic magazines. They were printed there, and these were my very first TMNT comics that I've ever read. And to this day, like when I checked them out again, and in preparation for this podcast, yeah, it really got me into this nostalgic feeling, like feeling like a kid again with this comics. Like I remember as a kid I read them over and over and over again. I still have the comics, but they are totally worn down. So yeah, this was my first introduction into the world of the TMNT comics, and yeah, definitely not my last.
No, especially the way you love the comics, dude. You've really inspired me to step up my game in regards to just show appreciation for more of these comics, because these are just awesome. I had the first one like you. That was my first comic ever. That one survived a flood because I had it higher up. So I have the event, and it's just such a classic image with Shredder's head and the turtles there. Even though it's the cartoon, I still just love the artwork for that one. That one was great. And back then, as a kid, this would have been a treat, guys. These, as you reread these on the Archie, on the adventure books, these were only $1 to $1.25. So imagine just being a kid, looking in your couch, finding the nickels and quarters and spare change or currency, and cashing it in just for $1. Great reads. Just dude, I can't wait to talk to you more about your thoughts on issue 6 here with a new origin story for a familiar friend.
Oh yeah, of Turtles and Stones and Mary Bones. We meet a new character, once again, who is like this thief who steals this crystal ball from some kind of swamp witch, and then he escapes to New York, but the witch finds him and uses the crystal ball, which she calls a turnstone. She's the witch is called Mary Bones, and she turns the character into an alligator man. Yep, that's the Leatherhead's origin in this world. He's not a mutant. He was transformed through magic, crystal ball magic, whatever. And yeah, he's not very happy with that. Then he runs into Shredder, who tells him that the turtles are working together with Mary Bones. So he sends Leatherhead, Bio, and Rocksteady after the turtles. They have a big fight underground, and the turtles tell him, like, hey, dude, you have to be a bad guy. The Shredder lied to you. And yeah, in the end, Leatherhead gets really angry, and they're fighting on this underground bridge, and he falls down the bridge and disappears in the darkness, and we don't know yet what's happened to him. Is he gone? But yeah, that's the origin of Leatherhead here in this universe.
I like it too because it reminds me of the cartoon. That's just my Leatherhead. I like him with the hat and like the gear, the coat. Is he one of your? Did you like this Leatherhead too?
Oh, it's such a classic design. It's like a mix between the cartoon version and the original Playmates toy version. It's not as big as in the cartoon, but it's not also not as small as the toy was, if you remember that one.
Yes.
But as you say, with the vest and the head and everything, it's such a classic design. It's a great design, and hey, that's, as you said, that's Leatherhead.
Yep, that's
perfect.
That's my Leatherhead. That's my Leatherhead, and I'm sticking to it. So, coming up next, we have one that was also a kid's book, like in the little like mini books. I don't know if you're familiar with those ones. Like they had School Days and a couple other ones, and this wrestling one is coming up with somebody. What's his name? Reminded me of Eminem reading that guy's name.
Oh yeah. Oh dude, yeah. Intergalactic wrestling. As we said before, like the stories, they flow into each other, and this takes off right where the last one ended. Like the turtles, they're like, oh, what happened to Leatherhead? And then something appears, and that something is a flying cow head. And yes, this is the very first appearance of Cuddly the Cowlick, and he takes the turtles and flies them off into space, and they land on Stamp Asteroid, where a stump wrestling is held, and the turtles have to wrestle there. And Leatherhead is also there because Cuddly rescued him from falling to his doom. And yeah, the turtles, they have to fight Crying Hound, who is this four-armed dog creature who always just saying like, my name is Crying Hound, and so on and so forth. And it's all he says over and over again. And and we also meet A-Stuck in this version. A-Stuck here is like this very muscular, speedo-wearing duck wrestler, and he's fighting Leatherhead. And yeah, in the end, the turtles win, Leatherhead win, and yeah, then Cuddly transports the turtles back to Earth, and Leatherhead stays on Stamp Asteroid because it's like, hey, in my new form, here I can be a hero, I can fight here, I can do something here. So he stays there. And oh yeah, I almost forgot. Hey, who can forget the two creatures behind the Stump Wrestling, Stump and Sling? One is a living tree and one is a living bush. And yes, this is all real. It's just so crazy. But I don't know, when I was a kid, I was not like, whoa, that's really out there. I was like, oh, that's so cool. I don't know. It totally worked for me. So yeah, that's the intergalactic wrestling. Wrestling turtles, always cool.
Oh yes, three things, I guess. Number one, big shout out to NECA because they actually have the Wrestling Ninja Turtles. If you guys want to get those for Christmas or for your own collection, they look fantastic. Number two, this is the best delivery Leonardo has for me because, like we talked about earlier, I actually had the cassette tape for this one, and I heard the actor when he does my name, Leo goes, shut up, and just kicks him right in the face, and that was just one of those, you get emotionally invested, and you're like punching the air like a little kid, so I was so hyped for that. I'm also starting to fall in love with Leo in this series already, and we're only in issue number 7 here. Oh, dude, what a great time to relive these. And who doesn't like wrestling? Also, as a kid, I didn't like A-Stuck's arrogance, so I was actually rooting for Leatherhead because I was at least familiar with him. So when Leatherhead's throwing him around and A-Stuck's crying, foul, foul, like interference, like a big baby, I'm like, go get him, Leatherhead. And how cool is it that he actually wants to be a hero and seek good? So we're going to learn more about Cuddly, too, where there's only one turtle that actually thinks he's a good guy, and you'll see some more on that later. But coming up next, another new backstory for 2 other friends of ours.
Here, issue number 8, titled Wild Things. As I said, the turtles, they come back to Earth, and suddenly they get attacked by 2 flying creatures, a giant bat creature and a mosquito. And yes, here we have Wingnut and Screwloose. And yeah, they're pretty much crazy because they just fly around city, throwing rocks around. And the turtles, they try to stop them. And here, in my opinion, you really get a feeling that like they are more serious with the characters because we find out the backstory of Wingnut and Screwloose, that they are not mutants, they are aliens from another planet, and their planet got destroyed, and they are like the last surviving members of their planet, and everyone was killed by someone, and that someone turns out to be none other than Krang. And they're trying to stop Krang, and you really get a feeling like, okay, this Krang is not like this goofy, like Shredder, do my biddings guy. He really means business. He's like destroying civilizations if he wants to, and he's really a serious threat here. And yeah, in the end here, Cuddly comes back and takes Wingnut and Screwloose with him. And well, the turtles come back to go back home, and yeah, that's the end of that story.
What I really enjoy about this too, as we get into our next issue, number 9, I really like the tone that this is, because it's still for kids. It's almost like that for here in America, they were starting to get those ratings, like a Y7 or a Y9, because it's almost like maybe even like the Batman animated series, where it's not dark, but it's not like. I always liked how David Wise said it when he was writing the Ninja Turtle cartoons and other cartoons he worked on. He always said, I never wrote down to children. And I feel the writers and workers on this comic so far are doing just that, because it's great for all ages. The only two that are dim-witted, and I'm fine with it, are Bebop and Rocksteady, where they keep saying "use guys," and that's pretty much how they were in the cartoon. But I also like where Krang's going. This also makes me feel I'm playing a video game of the Turtles on Game Boy, because in the Game Boy games, the first two, Krang was the main villain, not Shredder for the final boss. So we'll get more of your thoughts later, but feel free to take us into the next one, which was also a kid's book with this chameleon.
Issue 9, Codename Chameleon. Here we meet once again a new character who is this spy codenamed Chameleon, and he stole some weapon plans, and Shredder wants to get his hands on these plans. So the Turtles try to help Chameleon, and Bio and Rocksteady get sent after him, and they are able to kidnap him. All the while, the Turtles have to deal with a Knucklehead. Yes, you remember the toy, or from the classic cartoon, it's the same thing. And all the while, Shredder like interrogates the Chameleon, like, where are the weapon plans? And if you don't tell me, I will mutate you. And well, he tells him where to find them. And but Shredder still is like, yep, I could use you. And he mutates him into a real chameleon. And yeah, but then Chameleon escapes, is able to grab the weapon plans and escape with them, and he brings them back from where he stole them. And during all this fight, Bio and Rocksteady shoot at the ceiling at the Chameleon, and the ceiling caves in, it breaks down, and it buries Bio and Rocksteady beneath it, under all this rubble. And it's like, okay, we don't know, are they still alive down there, or what happened? But yeah, we'll find out about that later. But yeah, that's the end of that story.
Yeah, well done. I really like how their new characters are coming along. What's nice too is they all get a nice little backstory, and you'll even see, if you guys do read these on your own, you'll see the classic "Let me tell you a story." I doubt they did that on purpose, but it is cool seeing that, because since we've already talked about Tails, I'm like, ooh, I like that line. So I always like seeing that. Coming up next, though, we have another character that was not in the cartoon, but was a part of the toy line, and he was in the 2012 show. So interesting take here, and I want to know your thoughts about Mr. Worm in issue 10.
In issue 10, called Going Down. And yeah, as I said, we meet a new mutant who is Worm, who is like this flat worm that got mutated. And yeah, it's really wild, it's really crazy, but that's not the only mutant. It's a big mutant issue, because there's like this exterminator who by accident gets mutated into a cockroach, and that's the origin of Scumbag here. And the Turtles, they get like caught in this fight between these two mutants, because Worm attacks him, because he wants to eat him, and they fight. And during all this, there's like a big explosion, and the Turtles barely escape that. And then, well, the mutants are gone, maybe dead. And then suddenly lots and lots of red appear. And that's the end of the issue.
Yeah, I wonder where that's going to go, my friend. See, it's just they do such a great job with the continuation here, and it's one of those where, again, I'm appreciative that I'm reading this now in 2025, because I just don't know if I could have the willpower to just wait and figure out what happens next. So feel free to take it away with You Know Who coming back, or making his debut in here. Check that, making his debut here, but someone we're very familiar with.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you hear a lot of rats, as a Turtle fan, you gotta know who is behind this. And that's right, here in issue number 11, the Turtles, they run into the Rat King. But once again, very interesting take on him, because he's not like aggressive. He's like, I want to take over the world. He's just chilling there. He's just living in underground. And it's so interesting, because there's no big fight there. He's like, hey, you Turtles, you are in my kingdom now. Why did you come here? And once again, we see Leonardo here is like, hey, let me handle this. It's like, sorry, King, that we came in there. It was by accident. We don't mean you any trouble, and we're just looking for the Shredder. And then the Red King's like, okay, pointing them in the right direction, and then they're off. So that's for now the end of the what we see of the Red King.
Oh yes.
But the turtles, they find the hideout of the Shredder, but they get caught by some mysterious aliens who are called the Sons of Silence. And these are also the ones who like rescued Bebop and Rocksteady. They are back again. Yeah, they're fine. And yeah, they are working with Krang and Shredder. But then in the end, Mary Bones comes in again, and she's using the power of the Turnstone to save the turtles. And they get zapped away. They go to Dimension X, and Shredder and Krang's like, okay, let's fly to Dimension X for our next adventure. And yeah, once again, that brings us into the next issue.
Yeah. A quick little speed bump here just for a break. Mikey MVP with his throwing stars. How do you like all the turtles being portrayed? Because Raphael's got a little different color vibe here with some armor. If for those who are not checking out the artwork here.
Oh yeah, did not mention that because when the turtles were wrestling in outer space, they all got these wrestling outfits, and Raphael got this all black, very ninja-like outfit, and he is using that for a while. He's really like, hey, I'm a ninja. I'm out mostly in the dark, in the night, and when I'm all black, nobody can see me. So it makes total sense to use this new outfit. And so, yeah, Raphael runs around a lot just in black. And once again, I really thought that was very interesting, very cool.
Yeah, some more character depth there. And how do you like all the turtles being portrayed so far? I like them all. Everybody's getting their moments. They're not singling out one person. Another way, they're having a great job establishing Leonardo as the leader. Raphael being more the outcast with that armor, which I like too. He's getting his own character development. Mikey's still Mikey, a good laid back dude, but again, when the chips are down, they can rely on him. I just like how they even say in that comic, great job, Mikey, the one we just read. And Donatello's still the smarts, and what I like too is it's not a nice way to put like Adam West Batman. Like it's not like just this random, galaxies stuff like that we had in the '87 show. So how do you like all four turtles being portrayed thus far as we're into coming into issue 12?
Yeah, I think you can really see their characters coming from the classic cartoon. Leonardo is the leader. Raph is the sarcastic, grumpy one. Donatello is the smart one, and Mikey is the funny one. But as you said, when it comes down to how should I put it, like in a fight, being useful, each one can stand their ground. They can really just like sometimes with Mikey, it's like, oh, he's just goofing off. But as you said, like in this issue, we see like, okay, he can fight. He's good. He can fight. He can help in a fight. So I really like the characterization of the turtles here. As I said, they're still the turtles. They're still coming from the classic cartoon, but they get more character development here. I gotta say, and they're a little more depth to their characters, and yes. I'm all there for it.
And these are, again, we love our '87 cartoon. These are a little bit more, right where it would be like replay that. Like I love my turtles. I still watch them from time to time, but just as an adult, this would probably be the way to go if you wanted to relive Turtle Mania. Because coming up next, we got our buddies coming back, and they want the Turtles to have like the John Cena farewell tour. I called it in here.
Well, pretty much. Yeah, Turtles and everyone is now in Dimension X, and we find out that Mary Bones is actually called Cherube, and she is a character who comes from Dimension X. She was also a warlord like Krang, and she's got the Turnstone, this like all-powerful orb that can like transform thoughts into reality, like everything you can think of, it can make real. And Krang wants this. Krang is after this. So there is a fight with Cherube, and she loses the Turnstone during the fight. And so everyone is now looking, where is the Turnstone? Everyone is after it. The turtles try to find it before Shredder finds it. And yeah, and Krang calls in reinforcements. He calls an ally called Maligna, who is this alien bug queen with her bug creature army. And yeah, pretty much in the end, the turtles, they get surrounded by all these bug creatures, but they also got reinforcements, because Cuddly appears and sends in some other characters like Wingnut, Screwloose, and Leatherhead, and to help the turtles. So this is like, okay, this is the big fight here, which will happen in the next issue.
Yep, exactly. I thought that was cool too with the other guys. Like, hey, we want you to come back to wrestle. So very exciting here. And feel free to pop right in. I'm going to go on a limb here and say this is like the end of season 1 in quotation marks. It just feels like it's the end of the story into a new chapter here and with issue 13.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's even called the final conflict. I mean, it's very cool to call it the final conflict when it's issue 13 and the series goes up to issue 72. But still, as you said, it really feels like the finale of this big storyline, where the turtles, they have the big fight. There's lots of action fighting these malignoids, the bug creatures, and everyone is helping them. All the while, they still try to find the turnstone. And who in the end is able to find it? It's Leatherhead. He gets his hand on them, and he calls for Cherube, who appears and helps him. She's like, hey, give me the turnstone. With it, I can finish this conflict. And there's one very interesting scene, because Leatherhead gives it to her, and he's like, but you gotta answer me one question. Why did you turn me into an alligator? Why did you turn me into Leatherhead? And she's like, I did it because it had to happen, because I knew that you would be the one who helped me, and this is how it all has to play out. And I thought that's like with destiny and everything. It's very interesting. But yeah, Cherubi gets the turnstone back, and with it, she's able to finish this conflict. And she sends Shredder to prison on Earth. She sends Crank to another planet, like this dump planet. She sends Beaver and Rocksteady to a paradise planet where they can live freely as the creatures that they are. And yeah, so she stops this conflict. It's really big finale here. And the turtles, they will be able to go back to Earth with the help of none other than Cuddly. And that's, yeah, so big finale, as I said, really like a season finale of a show. And really, really cool how it all is connected. I'm a big fan of the storytelling.
Oh, what I like too is I wonder if the writers had something to do with it, because they may have told Laird and Eastman or somebody, hey, you know, in these cartoons, it's always Shredder, Shredder, Shredder. How about if we get Shredder, you know, has an impact and then we go our own way? And somebody must have gave them the green light, which is great because, and I guess like we'll say season 2, we get a new friend right off the bat. We even get the Lion King Circle of Life kind of vibes before Lion King here with a little bit more touch in nature, which I like. Love the name of the new character too, and I'm getting scared, Christian, because most of these guys have NECA figures. And I know if I pluck one, I'm going to have to get them all. So I'm very scared right now to keep reading into this because my shelves are running very thin right now. But the guy we're going to mention in this issue does have a toy, and I don't know if you have it or not, but I may have to ask Santa Claus for that one. And hopefully that's the only one. I got to make sure I have some willpower. But feel free to start us off with Jaguar.
Yeah, you're totally right. NECA really delivered some really cool TMNT Adventures figures there. And yeah, this brings us into issue number 14, which is called Leave Heaven Alone. And Cuddly drops the turtles off on Earth, but not in New York. He sends them to Brazil. He's like, hey, have some adventure, bye. And there they immediately run into a new character called Jaguar, who is like this Jaguar man. And he's like a protector of the jungle. And yeah, the turtles, they befriend him, and they find out that there are some bad guys there, and they even kidnapped a reporter called April O'Neil. Like, what a coincidence. And so the turtles and Jaguar, they work together and save April in the end, and so they have a new friend. But well, back in New York, there's someone who gets informed about this animal people causing chaos in Brazil. And this mysterious person is called Mr. Null, and well, we will hear more of him in the future.
Yeah, pretty much as soon as the next issue with another new character, and I really enjoy the fresh take on these because the cartoon had mutants too, but this one just, these are more, again, just, I don't want to say, I guess, like, not kid friendly, just a little bit more adult oriented. Like, you can still, it's still in a kid fantasy world, but it can still, like, as we're doing this now in 2025, the legacy can stay a little bit more for, it's trying to think of the word, just longer lasting. Like, this is something that people can read today and still enjoy without it being kind of too wacky. So feel free to take it away in issue 15 with another new friend.
Yeah, the Howling of Distant Shadows. Here, the turtles, they are, well, still in Brazil. They're on their way. They try to find a way back to New York. And during all this, they run into some natives. And they also meet, as you said, a mysterious wolf man called Dreadmon. And yeah, there are some, the natives, they ask the turtles and jaguar for help because some of them were kidnapped and brought to some mines to, yeah, pretty much brought into slavery. And the turtles want to help them, and they get the help of Dreadmon there, and they save those people, and well, as we said, get a new friend in Dreadmon. Yeah, once again, the turtles stopped some bad guys from doing bad stuff in Brazil, and once again, there's someone behind all this bad doings. But yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there.
We sure are. And just again, for the comedic purposes here, for kids, they may not know what in issue 16 monkey bladder pate is. So feel free to Google that one if you're unfamiliar with those words. But so again, they just have the well-timed comedy in here. Like we said earlier, the Bebop and Rocksteady jabs worked. I like the stump wrestling jokes. I liked Ace Duck. So they do have good comedy in here too that kids and adults would find funny. Kind of like how a good Disney movie is. You know, like me and you were close to the same age. Like, doesn't Aladdin and the Lion King still make you laugh when Timon, you know, when Pumbaa, who's got a scar, and you know, Iago and Aladdin, like, aren't there ways that they can do things like this where the comedy still exists and it's timeless?
Yeah, absolutely. I just think like in this issue number 15, there when they are talking about like, yeah, they're giving Dreadmon, the natives give Dreadmon like something to eat, and it's like, as you said, it's like intestines of a monkey and something like this, and everyone is like, oh, yuck, that's disgusting. And just look at Michelangelo's like, could be interesting. Just the face he makes, it's yeah, it's so Mikey.
Yep.
Just his moments, just his little moments.
Yeah, and they still throw the pizza in here too for those, like you say, to be familiar with the cartoon. They just love apple cores more than pepperoni apparently, which I'd still stick with pepperoni. But anyways, that's a tale for another day. But yeah, feel free to break into issue 16 here with even a little death in the comics here, which was shocking to me.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a tragic one. Issue is called "Dredging the Ocean Blue," and the turtles, they want, as I said, they reach the ocean. They want to go back to New York, and so Donatello builds some makeshift boats, and they go out into the ocean. They say goodbye to Jaguar and Dreadmon, and but during all this, they run into this submarine, and they get caught by it. And there are some once again some bad guys there doing some stuff, and there they meet a guy called Kid Terra, who is working for Mr. Null. And Kid Terra is like this cowboy guy, the right hand man of Mr. Null. And but they also meet an old friend, Man Ray, who was also kidnapped, and well, they work together and to stop these bad guys. But during this fight, as you said, Man Ray has like a little friend called Babla, who is like this underwater mysterious creature. And during all this, Babla gets by accident shot by Kid Terra, because Kid Terra was shooting at Man Ray, but he missed and he got Babla, and Babla really dies here, which makes Man Ray go crazy and destroy everything. The turtles are barely able to escape and to survive this. And yeah, then we have a little funeral for Babla, and that's the end of that story. And yeah, as I said, it's really it's a bit gritty. It's really it can get dark. These comics can get dark. It's no like, hey, just kids comics. Like, yeah, but they can get serious.
Yeah, it's and you can tell too. We may see Shredder and Krang again if you guys continue to stick around here, but I kind of like the breath of fresh air too, where it's just not always Krang and Shredder going for power for the Technodrome. This is a better story, a lot more action, and they're slowly giving us new characters little by little. Issue 17, I gotta say, legendary photo. I've seen that comic. I never owned it, but I always just love the artwork of issue 17. Isn't that one of your favorites?
Oh, it's so cool with the turtles on top of this giant turtle just surfing on it on the ocean. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's really a classic comic cover. It's like everyone seems to know this one.
Yes.
Like, I remember this. Yeah,
Yep.
I know what you mean.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, in this issue called Fight the Power, the turtles still on their way to New York together with Man Ray, but here they run into in an evil captain called Captain Moseback, who is like this illegal shrimp fisher. And yeah, Man Ray, as he is like this, as he was as a human, he was a marine biologist, and he's still there for the animals of the ocean, and he wants to protect them. And so he attacks this Captain Moseback, and there's a big fight. And well, Man Ray first gets caught, but the turtles save him in the end and defeat Captain Moseback. And yeah, that's pretty much the story of that. It's just a fight with an evil sea captain.
Yeah, and I just want to keep going and keep going. So we get another familiar face here, and I kind of like this with it's pretty much almost like April's journal. Like we're living this through April's eyes, right? In these next few issues.
Yeah, you can say that because we always get like this from April's journals where we see what April is writing down. Like, okay, we are traveling around back to New York, and yeah, in this issue number 18 called Mondo Metal, the turtles are finally able to come back to New York City. But before they get home, they they run into some kids who are having like this heavy metal band, and they are playing at like Shredder's old headquarters, and sort of like, is this a good idea? But then they run into some foot soldiers, some foot robots, and they have a big fight. And during all this, one of the kids, the lead singer called Mondo, gets mutated because there are some barrels of mutagen lying around, and he gets mutated into a gecko. And so he gets turned into Mondo Gecko. And he teams up with the turtles, and together they defeat the foot robots. And so now he hangs out with the turtles. They go back to their lair, and Splinter is very happy to see them again. And then they have a little pizza party. And so turtles are back in New York.
And especially the two Mikeys. I knew you get a kick out of that when I posted in your Discord, because we're so used to it in the cartoon. I'm pretty sure it was an accident here. It was not one that was like an intentional accident, but it was funny seeing two Michelangelos, because they drew Donnie as a Mikey. I'm like, he doesn't have a bow staff, but they must have known, like, just in the good old days. So I thought that was a good little laugh there. So coming up next, we get some training with Splinter and April, which I thought was very interesting. And we just got to mention this too, because our generation, we know smoking is bad for you, but it's funny reliving these because you rarely see cigarettes or tobacco anywhere, and to see some of these villains smoking is like, ooh, don't see that anymore nowadays.
Yeah, it's also something that I thought was interesting, because we see some characters, but mostly the evil ones, some smoking some cigarettes or cigars. And issue number 19, The Man Who Sold the World. As you said, we find out that Splinter is training a little bit with April, and she's like using the katana to protect herself, which is a very interesting trait. And the turtles still try to find out what is going on with Null, because wherever they go, they hear about him. They stop some evil stuff that he's doing around the world, like this Null Corporation is doing. And Mondo's still there, and then we find out that some aliens appeared, because something that we forgot to mention is that when Krang was teaming up with Maligna way back when the final conflict was going on, he promised her if she helps him, she will get Earth. She will get Earth for herself. And so 2 new aliens appear on Earth called Skull and Bean, who are also working for Maligna. And they strike a deal with Null. Like, he is the man who sells the world to them. And the turtles hear about this from none other than Kid Terra, who appears before them, and he's like, okay, I'm working for Null, but he's selling the world, and this will be the end of the world, and I'm living on it, so it will be bad for me too. So he's telling the turtles all this. And then Skull and Bean appear, and they are like really tough enemies. The turtles fight them until in the end, the big bad guy himself, that we have not seen yet until this moment, appears, and that is none other than Null. And we see his face for the very first time, and he's a bald man with horns, and he just like the devil, he's some kind of demon creature. And it's really, I remember way back then, this was like a big shock. I was like, the turtles have to fight the devil himself. That's wild. So crazy.
And that's what I feel is going to happen in issue 20. It's almost like a Godzilla type battle here, but little by little, some members are going to start getting pulled away too, which gets really, again, as a kid, I always loved those X-Men cartoons, because there were some times where one by one they would go missing, or only one would be on the prowl. So we're getting somewhere with this too. The pot's starting to brew a little bit more here in issue 20.
Yeah, issue 20, I mean, after issue 19, it's like the story is getting split a little bit, because here we have, on one hand, we have like issue number 20, but on the other hand, it's like a side story which leads into the Mighty Mutantos miniseries, which we will talk about in a moment.
Yes.
But with issue number 20, we see like Null appears, the turtles get caught, and then Null and Skull Bean and Kid Terra, they fly off in a spaceship, and Raphael and Mondo Gecko, they hide inside the spaceship, and they fly off. And then the other turtles and Splinter, they get left behind, like, oh no, what's gonna happen to them? We don't know. But they have their own problems. They like, okay, like police appears, like, okay, we have to disappear. And so they disguise themselves. They go to Chinatown, where they witness a fire at a shop, and a fireman runs in to save a little kid, but he gets caught in the fire. And there's this old Japanese man, and he's got this mystical statue that he throws at the man, and he gets transformed through all this. He gets transformed into the warrior dragon, like this giant yellow dragon creature. And somewhere else in New York, suddenly a gigantic foot soldier gets reactivated. So it goes the way that you expect. We have a big kaiju fight. We have a giant dragon fighting a giant robot, and it's all kinds of awesome. And in the end, the warrior dragon, the good guy, destroys the giant robot. And that's the end of that. Pretty cool.
Yeah, they're just so much fun to read, and like it's good for all ages too. It's a very good read, and we're getting, oh my gosh, I think this one you had to like reliving it, because I know you're the horror guy of the two of us, and reading issue 21 with what happens to April, I got the Ring vibes there.
I see what you mean. Like, yeah, I mean, the issue has one of the funkiest titles ever. It's called Space Junk Face Funk Cyberpunk Thief. And yeah, in this issue, we meet a man who gets hit by a satellite that falls to Earth, which collided with some radioactive materials, and it transforms him into like this cybernetic creature called Vicious, who well, as you said, is able to fly through monitors, like fly through cyberspace, through computers, through TVs, and through this he kidnaps April because he is like, hey, I will. You will make a report. We will have like this interview where I tell you that I will use my radioactivity to destroy the oil fields, so there will be no more evil oil. And April's like, but that's crazy, dude. And well, the turtles, of course, they confront him and they fight him. But he escapes into a computer. Donatello jumps after him. And then Shredder reappears. It seems like he escaped from jail and he appears and he copies Donatello and Vicious onto a disc and escapes with them, leaving the turtles behind. And that's the cliffhanger ending of that issue.
Yep, exactly. That's what I like, because Raphael goes missing, and another turtle might be missing too, as we bring in our final issue of Turtles before we get into the three-parter here. Take it away with my favorite number, 22.
Issue number 22, called Red Trap, which continues straight where the last issue left off. Splinter, April, Leonardo, and Michelangelo, they try to get Donatello back. So Shredder frees Donatello and Vicious from the cyberspace, from the disc. Vicious, by the way, he flies off, he disappears to be never seen again. And but Shredder uses Donatello for a trap. He lures the turtles and Splinter to like this this place, like this warehouse. And it's in the end pretty much it's a trap, because there's like this big maze and the turtles and April, they walk around in this maze while Splinter finds another way, and that was the trap because Shredder was waiting for him, and they have a big fight there. And Splinter almost gets thrown off the roof of the building, but before that happens, a mysterious person jumps in and beats up Shredder. Shredder runs off, and it turns out that this person is none other than Raphael, who is back from his own little adventure. But so the turtles are all together again. And yeah, you can say, like, once again, a little finish here of this storyline. And yeah, pretty cool.
Oh yeah, and Raphael's back to 100% green. He's gone green again. His armor is all gone, which is nice too. Very touching. And yeah, so what's going to be cool here is how they re-released these. In like 2016, they were reproducing these books almost like kind of like comic graphic novels. So you get 3 to 5 issues per book. So at the end of this book here, you get the 3 mini issue with the Mighty Mutanimals, the Ninja Turtles Avengers.
Yeah, so we have this 3-part Mighty Mutanimals miniseries, which tells us what happened to Raphael and Mondo Gecko after last time we saw them. So yeah, this 3-part miniseries is pretty much like Raphael and yeah, a lot of other characters trying to stop the alien invasion of Maligna. So we have like on 2 sides. On one hand, we have Raphael and Mondo Gecko on Maligna's spaceship. They try to do their own thing, and they even get some help from Kid Terra, because we really get the feeling like, okay, Kid Terra, who was this bad guy, but he's got he developed a consciousness and is like, maybe it was not all right that I did for a null to work for a demon. Maybe it was not good. But on the other hand, we also see like other creatures and other animal people that we've met before. Um, we have like characters from Stump Asteroid who get attacked by the Malignoids, and they escape to Earth with Cuddly, like Leatherhead, Wingnuts, and Screwloose. They escape to Earth and they land in Brazil, where they run into Man Ray and Jaguar and Dreadmon, and they team up to fight the invasion. So, as I said, we have like these two sides. We have these characters fighting the alien creatures, and on the other hand, we have Raphael and Mondo Gecko fighting on the other hand. And well, in the end, they are able to. They all work together to stop Maligna, like, and with the help of Kitara. Well, Maligna stops the alien invasion because otherwise she will get shot. So it's like, okay, I back down. And she escapes to fight another day. Null, who worked with Maligna, also disappears to come back later. And yeah, all these creatures, all these animal people, they come together and they form a new team, which is like the origin of the Mighty Mutanimals. So yeah, and these were the OG Mighty Mutanimals. Um, yeah, not much else to say. It's just like in TMNT history to see like this version. I mean, we got Mutanimals, we got the Mutanimals in the IDW comics, we got the Mutanimals in the 2012 show, and here we have the original Mutanimals, and it's just like it's. As you said, it's like going back to Turtle Prime, to the 90s, where this was so big and so new and so fresh. And it's I just love it. It really brings me back to being a kid again, I guess.
Yeah, that's how I felt. And how cool is it too at the end of this one? Like while you brought up the person working for Null, he asked for Raphael's forgiveness for what he did to his friend. I thought that was very touching too, just for the end. So this is great for anybody who's a fan of Turtles, whether you're from Turtle Prime, whether you're new to Turtles. Again, the TMNT Talk has got me really hyped into all these comics. We've broken down so many for you. We are going to continue this one in a couple weeks, but what are some of your favorite takeaways from this? Now, did you read all of these as a kid, or did you have to wait until you got into your adult life to gather all the issues?
I had to. I mean, I started the series as a kid,
Okay.
but they did not print all of it over here in German. For example, we never got the Mighty Mutanimals miniseries. They just printed the regular TMNT adventures. So as a kid, I never found out what happened to Raphael, what happened to the alien invasion. Yeah, it just like in one sentence, like, what about the alien invasion? Yeah, we stopped it. It's all cool. And like, I would have loved to see that.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it only got up to like issue 29 or 30, and then they stopped printing these comics, unfortunately. So yeah, I had to get older. I think the first time that I read the whole series was like, I don't know, around the year 2000 or so, when like the internet was coming up and I was able to order comics from overseas. And then I really finally got my hands on these comics and was able to read the whole story. And yeah, I was really happy with it, because we're gonna see where this is going, because they really, how should I put it? It feels like this comics, they grow up, because at the start it's like, okay, this all ages comic books, they can get serious, no doubt about it, but it's still for all ages. And later on, after a few years, it sometimes gets really dark, like on par with the Mirage comics in some ways. And it's telling some really cool stories, some really big storylines. And yeah, looking forward to talking about them with you.
I can't. Gosh, it's. I'm saying I don't care. We're a podcast here. I like these stories better than the cartoon that we grew up with. How about you? If you had to pick one, which one would you choose?
Yeah, you gotta say, really, as we talked about it, like these comics, they're also connected. They're really the world building here and everything. It's so cool, and it's always like, I want more. I want the next one. I want to find out what happens next. With the cartoon, it was like, okay, you're watching one episode and you're fine because you have one story. That's cool. There was never that much world building, and as I always say, as much as we love the classic cartoon, it's really a product of its time.
Yes.
It's like there's not much continuity, there are not really that much story arcs or anything or character development, and you get all of this in these comic books. So it's really, I don't know if you can really say that it was ahead of its time, because nowadays we got story arcs and character development in TMNT cartoons as well, starting with the 2003 show. But back then, it was, well, kind of unusual. And for this, I'm like, hey, this is really good. And because I think a lot of people look at these comics and they're like, yeah, they are the kids' comics. They are the kids' comics. Check them out. Check out these comics, because there's so much more behind it. It tells really good stories.
I agree. The only thing I will defend the TV show versus the comics is the comics only had to do one of these per month, right? These were coming out every month.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like,
exactly.
You're going to give me a full month to sit and plan, whereas the Turtle Mania with the obsessive kids, I need more. Like, they were writing shows like almost like every day to get, I mean, we covered the whole season 3, 45 plus episodes. So you get a little bit more time here, and you reap what you sow. So, Christian, it's been a blast. Guys, I have some great news for you, though. If you want to know more about the Archie series, our good friend here has dove into a lot of them, and he's currently working on the April one. Is that right?
Yeah, in my German episodes, I'm currently talking about the April miniseries, because April even later gets her own miniseries, her own adventures, and these are also very interesting. And yeah, that's something that the Archie comics also do. Like later on, we get some more miniseries, like on some well, how should I put it, like side characters. They're like April stories, and then we have like a miniseries with Donatello and Leatherhead teaming up and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, telling some really fun stories. And yeah, that's also what I'm doing when I also talk turtles on my podcast, TMNT The Talk, which you can also check out, like on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever, or just go to the website tmnttalk.com. And don't be like, oh no, but you're doing German podcasts. Yes, I'm doing German podcasts because I'm from Austria, but I'm also doing English podcasts where I talk about TMNT comics that are and new stuff that's coming out. That's currently coming out by IDW Comics, and so on and so forth. So I think there is something for everyone on TMNT The Talk. So check it out.
Oh, I agree all the way. As you say, it's the Chef's Kiss to Turtle podcast, because here we're only having a limited time to do the cliff notes. Christian breaks down you go issue by issue, don't you, on your show? You try to break it down for a full 30 minutes, telling everything, every detail, every Easter egg, everything you can. And what's great about yours, too, is it's your personal opinion and your take, which is what I love podcasts. This is why I love doing our show here. It's just, we give you guys a sample of what the TMNT universe is out there, and we share our love, our passion, and our opinions, because we want everybody to check out anything Turtles. And like you say, if it's Ninja Turtles, you're there for it. So, dude, awesome work. And which other Archie English ones have you covered so far? I know you got a couple on there.
With the Archies,
yeah.
I try to think of what I've talked about.
Yeah.
I mean, I always talk like compare, like when there's something new, like in the IDW comics, they also like got their own versions of Archie characters. Like we've seen Jaguar and Dreadmon. We also seen them in the IDW comics. And when they appear in the comics, I always go back to the Archie comics. Like, okay, they had this origin, and try to like explain where they come from and what origin they had in the Archie comics and so on and so forth. So you know, even though I'm talking about the newest stuff, you always go back to the original stuff, because like, okay, this is a character that first appears here and here and here. So like, really, I try to like give an explanation to show you the whole TMNT multiverse. That's my plan.
Yeah, and that's why I've been having so much fun just reliving these, because this is my first time experiencing this series as a whole, and we're gonna have more hopefully for you guys next week. But Christian and I are gonna be signing off, and like you always say, my dude, until next time.
Nothing to add there, my friend.